Our centering words this morning come from Mother Teresa. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, able or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing, a lifelong sharing of love with others.
I love how this community allows our individual talents to shine. That was just lovely. This community of care is created through our time and work together, our commitment to one another. This is our covenant, to work together in loving fellowship to share our hopes and values. As we pass these baskets, we thank you for your generous donations and gifts which support the work of this religious community and Unitarian Universalist in the world at large. As a reflection of our values, we are pleased to participate in the Change for Change program. The coins you place in the basket today will support the work of nonprofits in and around the Grand Valley. With gratitude, we will now receive today's offering. This congregation is a community of ourselves. Its energies and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to its life, we affirm our lives within it. Together we share, and from this we live. All right, let's sing together hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Can people hear me okay? Okay. Corey, can you turn it up just a little bit? How about now? Is that better? Okay, good. All right, well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. So, it's interesting. Time goes fast and then it doesn't go fast. And so like sometimes I'm like, oh, it's already been a month. And then I'm like, no, it has not already been a month. But it has been about a month since we came together and we did our service about shields. And what we were talking about is the type of people we want to be in the next month, year, whatever. And what we talked about, if we feel like things that we love and care about are under attack, what are the different types of ways that we can be shields to protect those things that we care about? And believe it or not, it's been a month since we did that. And so I just want to kind of check in and ask everybody how you're doing. And you can give me like a thumbs up, thumbs down, a thumbs maybe, but how are we? All right, so I'm getting a lot of thumb maybes. And that's okay, because part of being human is that we get to be who we want to be, and we can have our ups and we can have our downs and we can have our maybes, and we don't have to pretend to be something that we're not. And so what I've been thinking about, for, the last week or so is I like the idea of shields, but putting up a shield is kind of passive, right? And so it's important if something is coming at you that we can put up a shield and we can protect ourselves. But then it's also important to feel like we're not just being passive, that we can also be active. And so that's kind of what I've been thinking about recently, and what I talked about last week was who gets to define us? And do we let other people define who we are as Americans, as a woman, as Unitarian Universalists, as galactic earthlings? We all have a lot of hats that we wear, and we have different roles that we play, but who gets to define us? And so what I've been thinking about this week you know, that tension between, you know, being a shield and being on the defensive and then being active. What the shield that I think that I want to take up for the time being is I don't want to lose my compassion. And I don't want to lose my caring for people. And I don't want to lose who I am as a person who tries to go through this world being kind. And what I've noticed the last week or so when I turn on the media, and it's not always great to turn on the media, but I see almost like it almost is kind of feeling like it's being normalized, that being mean or being happy that somebody just lost their job, or there's kind of a callousness and a kind of a subtle, my words, cruelty to what we are seeing in the world. And I don't want that. I don't want to become that. So that, you know, I think as we go through these times, we may have different shields, and we may have to put one down and put a different one up. But the shield that, at least for me, for my own humanness right now, is I don't want to lose my humanity. And I am kind of scared that with the type of media that we have, and, you know, social media and the news, that we need to be careful that what is coming at us is not subtly desensitizing us to saying, okay, this type of thing is okay. I don't want to become a mean, angry, reactive person. And last week I talked about the German word, and I know I massacred it. I'm going to massacre it again, and then I'm going to massacre the next word. But, so there's a word called Schadenfreude, Schaden something. Schadenfreude, okay. And what we talked about last week is that is kind of getting a little bit of happiness or glee when something bad happens to somebody. Just kind of like a little bit of that energy of I told you so. But they also have a word countering that, which is, I'm going to massacre this word too, Freudenfreude? Freudenfreude? Okay.
It's not in the musical theater.
Okay. Well, that word, Freudenfreude, it's, Brene Brown talks about it in her book, Atlas of the Heart. But it's the opposite. It's getting that sense of joy and happiness when you see something good that happens for somebody. So it's kind of like that, you know, rooting somebody on and cheering them on and being happy because something good is happening. And so I think that we need to be careful. I want to be intentional about, I want to live my life with Freudenfreude. I want to be happy when good things happen to other people. I want to bring a sense of laughter and joy to the people around me. And so I just think it's important to be aware of what might be happening, because I try to understand where other people are coming from. So occasionally I will venture into social media posts that I might not necessarily agree with because I want to understand. But then what happens is I see a lot of kind of, I see people being mean. And I just think I don't want us to become a mean society. I don't want to become a mean person. I don't want us to be a mean, angry denomination. Because as I've said before, that's where then you can kind of get, you can begin to become manipulated when you are coming from the energy of anger and fear and meanness. So That's what I've been thinking about this week, is how do I maintain myself? How do I live in a sense of Freudenfraud as opposed to Freudenfreude? This is gonna go on YouTube, and in like 5 years, it's gonna be really, really embarrassing. But you guys all know what I mean. So a few weeks ago, when we had Rivera's son as our guest speaker, she referenced a phrase or a paragraph in Lord of the Rings when Frodo said, "I wish it need not have happened in my time." And Gandalf says, "So do I. And so do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us." Those were words of comfort to me a few weeks ago, and they're words of comfort to me today. And so I share them again because they might be words of comfort to you. What we're seeing in the world is not what I want for my daughter. It is not what I want for my son. It's not what I want for the beautiful children here. It's not what I want for my parents who have lived their whole lives paying into a system that they were pretty sure was secure and isn't secure. And yet, there's just so much wisdom in those little phrases, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given. And so what I posted on Facebook last week, thinking about this, some of you may have seen it, but it was another quote that I shared with you last week. I'm going to share it again because I still think it's helpful, from Aram Jamal Sabir, who wrote, "Although nonviolence may be harder and may require greater sacrifice than violence, at least you don't lose your humanity in the process." And so what I wrote on Facebook last week was, if the leaders you see are inviting you to lose who you are in terms of empathy, kindness, and compassion, it's okay to look for other role models. Not every leader asks you to leave your humanity at the door. And it's sad that I have to point this out, but I want to point that out. Not every leader asks you to leave your humanity at the door. That didn't used to be what leadership was. Now he continued, "Having empathy and compassion is not weakness. Those traits are what make us human. What is not normal is being comfortable with causing harm and pain to others. I'm working hard to not allow myself to become desensitized to the suffering of others. That's how I shut down and become complacent. If a person in a position of power has no empathy or compassion, they are not leaders that I choose to follow. I choose not to follow them or allow their alternative reality to become my own." We don't need to let other people decide for us who we're going to become. And just because somebody may have a little bit of power, that does not mean that we give up who we are. We do not have to give up what we stand for. We do not have to give up all of the ways that we were raised and what we were taught and all the values that make America great. We don't have to give those up because somebody with a loud podium is telling us that we are not compassionate, kind people anymore. We still are. And so that's what I wanted to talk a little bit today. I named my sermon the spirit behind the action. because that's what Maya was talking about with the kiddos, that something on the surface can look the same, but it can be very, very different. Words that we say can mean very different things based on what's going on inside of us at the time. And so when I am in the world, I have to be careful and intentional about if I'm going to engage with somebody on Facebook. It's okay to engage, but am I engaging right now with that inner energy of anger and reactivity because I want to be right, because I want to shut that person down and I want them to feel what I'm feeling? That is one type of way to engage. Or do I want to take the time to figure out what I really believe, who I am, what I stand for, and then maybe even writing the same words? But I know that they're coming from a place of groundedness, kindness, compassion, strength, not a little bit of kind of that collective mass manipulation, anger, reactivity. And I have to say that intention, it matters. It really does. And there are a lot of people in this congregation, in this sanctuary right now. And what if every one of us leaves today and decides that with every interaction we're going to have, it's going to come from that grounded, centered place of who we are, who we've been known to be, how we were raised. We can still engage, but look around you right now. There are a lot of people here. What if every person goes out and decides just to be that kind, loving, compassionate person in this valley? That is a lot of countering some of the anger and the hate. And it doesn't cost us anything. But what we might receive back if we are the ones going into Safeway or City Market and making eye contact and smiling at the cashier, what we might receive back is a smile. You know, if we decide to see each other and recognize each other and honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person around us, that has a ripple effect also. And so the intention behind the action, it does matter. I remember some of you who have been around a while may have heard this story, but when I was in seminary, I grew up in Littleton, and I went to the Isla School of Theology. And when I was in seminary, I was doing a internship with the Prince of Peace, which is a Church of the Brethren church, they are one of the traditional peace denominations, nonviolence. And my supervising minister had done something, the police department had something called the Littleton Police Academy, the Littleton Citizens Police Academy. And she had done that, and she wanted me to do the Littleton Citizens Police Academy. And so it was kind of fun. I got to learn about how the police officers did their job. I got to go on ride-alongs. They even came up with a fake crime scene for us and let us do fingerprints and everything. And it was fun. But the whole time I was kind of like, Sarah, why am I doing this? I'm a ministry intern. Why am I part of the Littleton Citizens Police Academy? And then Columbine happened. And the day that Columbine was taking place, Sarah, my minister, she went over to Columbine and she just showed up The police officers knew her, they recognized her, and they said, "Sarah, get over here." And they took her behind the tape, and she started caring for people. It wasn't until then, in that moment, that I realized why I was part of the Littleton Police Academy. Because it wasn't about learning how to do fingerprints. It was about building relationship. It was about building connection. It was about building trust. And because she had, when there were times of peace, because she had done the work to get to know, understand how the police work, introduce herself to the people in her community, and build that relationship that was strong. When the time was right and they needed her, that relationship was already there. And she was able to do ministry to those kids because she, in her own way, had already done ministry to those police officers. And you better believe that some of those police officers and first responders were coming to her later also, when they had their own sense of moral injury and their own grief and drama. Because relationship had been built, because the intention behind the action was one of love, compassion, kindness, commitment, community, connection. And that mattered. It still matters today, and I still think about, and she didn't tell me why, right? She didn't say, "Wendy, this is the theory behind why you're going to the Littleton Police Academy." I kind of had to figure that out on my own. But I've taken that with me when we're here. And so when we work together with the Grand Valley Interfaith Network and Together Colorado and Grand Junction Mutual Aid and Grand Valley Peace and Justice and all of these organizations and the food, I want to call it the food shelter, but it's not the food shelter. The food bank, yes. We're building relationship, and that relationship matters. It may not matter right now, but Chelsea knows us, and Chelsea can call and say, "This is what's happening right now." And Corey is friends with one of the members of the Baptist church, so she could tell me, "This is what happened to them right now," and we can send them love. And we are a small town. We know who our representatives are. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. We don't need to be demonizing the people on the opposite side of a political spectrum. We need to be building relationship and reaching out and saying, "This is who we are. How can I help you? How can I support you?" Because I'm pretty sure that our representatives right now are paying attention to what's happening in the world. And my guess is it's pretty darn scary. I think it would be pretty scary to be a member of Congress right now. I think it's scary to be in a lot of positions. And so we have to have compassion for that. We do what we can do, and we do it from a paradigm of loving compassion. And so in the some of the metaphysical classes that I've been taking over the years, they talk about there's 12 spiritual attributes. And I'm just going to name these 12 attributes. And as I name them, just think about in your life, are you using some of these spiritual attributes in the way that you are being in the world? And if you are, that's really wonderful. And if you're not right now, nobody else is going to know, but just ask yourself, could I incorporate some of this into my own life? So there is an attribute of peace. Are you taking the time to allow peace to come into your life? Are you taking the time to expand peace out to the people around you? There's the attribute of truth. What is truth? With truth comes discernment. Are you taking the time to see something and think it through, to question, to center yourself and say, is this true for me? Or am I possibly being manipulated right now? Am I sharing my truth in a way that might help and improve the lives of somebody around me? There's the attribute of health. Are we taking the time to create a system of health in the system that is our own body? Are we bringing health into our body? But are we bringing health to the environment? Are we bringing health to Mother Earth? Are we bringing health into our family? Are we bringing health? And this is a real question. Are we bringing health into our hospitals and our care systems? Where is the health? The concept of eternal life, and I don't mean that in a Christian way, but just the idea that life continues on, that atoms and electrons and cells, they continue on, that there is a larger perspective than just the short-term place that we're in our own lives right now. Confidence. Are you confident in who you are being in the world? There's the attribute of beauty. What is beauty? What does it mean to connect with something that is just sort of beyond words? Charity. Understanding that we are more when we are giving, when we are expanding ourselves, we are connecting and contributing to the people in the world around us. Joy. I love joy. Joy is a little bit different than happiness. Happiness can, something can make you happy, but it's fleeting. Joy is kind of that inner experience of something that is beyond place and time. And it's just this inner, to me, joy is that experience of inner beauty. And that can happen even in the hardest times. Then there's the attribute of love. We talk about love all the time. But love is what connects us. And then the 12th attribute is that of abundance. And we don't always think about abundance. But abundance is so much more than having money in your bank account. It is about experiencing and sharing and being in connection with these other 12 attributes. And when I think about abundance, and I'm looking out at all of you today, look at the abundance of the compassion, the joy, the love, the connection, the community. There's a lot of really beautiful wealth in this sanctuary right now, and it has nothing to do with the number on a bank account. And to me, that is where our strength is going to come from. That is why we are strong, and that is why we continue to be who we're going to be, and that is why we are all going to be fine. We are all going to be fine because we have each other, we have ourselves, we know what is behind our action. It's these 12 attributes. We live into these attributes, and that is true power and strength. So with that, let us sing together number 160, Far Too Long by Fear Divided. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go now in peace. Amen.